This is 7.1 Introduction to Air Pollution. So I put up the learning objective and the essential knowledge for this one. I'm going to talk about all the different types of air pollution all at once together so we can complete an air pollutant chart. So I'm just going to touch on the primary versus secondary pollutants and the Clean Air Act in this video. So primary pollutants are those which are directly emitted from a source. So these are typically from combustion. So we see carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, SOx, NOx, most hydrocarbons, which is our VOCs, and then particulate matter. The secondary pollutants over here are the ones that are formed when these primary pollutants react in the atmosphere. So they're not directly emitted from anything, but they're the things that are emitted, then have a reaction and lead to a secondary type of pollution. So 2020 marks the 50th anniversary of the signing of the Clean Air Act. The Clean Air Act was created in order to reduce the amount of specific pollutants in our atmosphere. It looked at only 6 main types, which I'll show you on the next slide. But what's important to know is it had some major effects. So it regulated the use of lead, particularly in lead fuels, which decreased the amount of lead in the atmosphere, and it led to an average of a 69% decrease in our air pollutants. It's important to note that this was in 1970, but it was updated and amended in 1990 to include ozone protections and acid rain, toxic pollutants, and improving our air quality and visibility. If we look closely here, I mentioned that decreasing lead levels was one of the big highlights of the Clean Air Act. We can see that the amount of lead used in gasoline is directly correlated with the average blood levels taken. And we see in 1976 all the way up to 1980, huge decrease in our lead levels. So I mentioned that the Clean Air Act looks at 6 criteria pollutants, we call them. So this is set by the EPA, who created the Clean Air Act. These are called the National Ambient Air Quality Standards. So they look at levels and determine the levels that are safe for humans and the environment. So the 6 criteria air pollutants are nitrogen dioxide, sulfur dioxide, carbon monoxide, particulate matter, lead, and ground level ozone. So we remember this with a mnemonic device, and we say nose clip. NOSCLP. For the NOx, the ozone, the SOx, carbon monoxide, lead, and particulate matter. So, remember that, nose clip. I wanted to point out that they keep a list of the states that have reached non-attainment, which means you're not meeting these standards based on the ambient air quality standards, and Connecticut is currently on that list because we are not reaching that level for ozone. So to summarize, we talked about primary versus secondary air pollutants. Primary are emitted directly from the source, and secondary are as a result of a reaction in the atmosphere. The Clean Air Act, created in 1970, did wondrous things for our air quality. It was amended in 1990 to do even more wonderful things for our air quality. And it focuses on the 6 criteria pollutants, which we'll remember as nose clip.